Alright everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be touching on the top showdown plays for this Thursday night showdown between the Chicago Bears and also the Carolina Panthers. So looking at the game preview for this game, it is, relatively speaking, supposed to be a lower scoring game. We will see. The Panthers are pretty good defense at stopping the pass. The Bears defense has struggled thus far this season, maybe getting a little bit better as a team. We'll see. Two kind of quarterbacks that I think are probably getting the wrong narratives, I would say. Like, just because CJ Stroud is dominating, people are really going at Bryce Young, and I don't think that's fair. Like, heck, you compare it to Justin Fields' class, and he probably would be the best looking quarterback there. And then that being said, Tyson Bagent, if he was a first round quarterback, people would be singing his praises. So it's definitely weird, the narratives that these quarterbacks have in this game. It'll be fun to watch. And I say that hoping that it will be, because, man, the primetime games have been weird. That being said, last week was awesome. We were able to cash on Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and also Monday Night Football, and then on the Sunday slate. So very good week overall NFL DFS wise. Let's hope that continues this week. Looking at, guys, the Carolina Panthers, DJ Chark doubtful. So that's going to mean Terrace Marshall is probably going to step up into a bigger snap share like he had done earlier on this season. It's going to be Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, and then probably Marshall. They are pretty banged up as a whole. Like, we can see a bunch of the injuries that they've had thus far this season. Another very interesting tidbit, especially for DFS purposes, is that Stephen Sullivan, he is out. So that's going to be Tommy Tremble probably will be the tight end one, maybe Hayden Hurst, but I don't know. It's weird. And I say that because we have seen Hayden Hurst start to lose some snaps, 33% or so the last few games, and then we have seen that come in favor of Tommy Tremble getting more work. And we have also seen Sullivan actually get some work in that one as well. And then, yes, with DJ Chark only playing 57% of the snaps, then we can just assume it's going to be Marshall. And then just looking at the Chicago Bears, they are going to be without Khalil Herbert, it seems like, and Justin Fields. So we'll start with the Fields news. That should give a bump to all the pass catchers, okay? Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, they get a big bump. DJ Moore, to me, that's like an even push. The only difference that we've seen with DJ Moore with Tyson Bagent is that he hasn't really had those big plays. Now, that game against Washington, we all saw the defenders were trying to jump the routes, so really all DJ Moore had to do was catch the ball and basically turn up field. Now, the first play was an awesome play by him as well. Those plays just really haven't been there for him, but because of that, and I think it's a little bit of defensive attention on Moore, Darnell Mooney has been able to feast. So it might seem like we're either going Moore or Darnell Mooney. Now, they both can get value, and I think they both will. And then Cole Kmet as well. He had a really awesome touchdown catch in that game last week. Receiver-wise, Tyler Scott, I still think is going to be getting a lot of work. They keep trying to get him the football. We'll see if that leads to any value. Roschon Johnson actually looked bad last week. He did. It was bad. Like, he's had some pop plays thus far this season, don't get me wrong, but yeah, he looked slow. He looked really bad. Now, granted, that could just be a one-off situation. We have not seen him look that bad, and he is going to get a good matchup this week, but we saw him get literally 3 touches, and none of them were inspiring. Granted, they were 3 touches, like, sure, but he had some room to work with, and he just didn't get that many yards. We're going to expect that it's going to be Deonta Foreman leading the way, as it should be, okay? 20 carries, played about 60% of the snaps. I'm annoyed with how they are using their backs, though, especially on third down situations. Like, to me, it should be Darrington Evans, who looks explosive, or Travis Homer. Neither of them are getting work on third down situations, which I don't get it. I don't get why you want the slow banger in Roschon Johnson back there. Now, Blossomgame is out as well, I believe. Let's just double check that. Yeah, he's out with a concussion. And so that actually might lead to maybe Foreman getting more work, just kind of operating as a fullback-ish. Or maybe we just see a couple more 2 tight end sets. So maybe Robert Tonyan is going to hold some value. But yeah, let's start out with the Chicago Bears. So DJ Moore revenge game, I think that's going to be a fun thing. And honestly, I think that could be something we're actually paying attention to. And so like I said, he had been someone that I don't think his production has changed at all with Tyson Bagent on the field. I mean, it clearly has, but like on the field, it hasn't changed, if that makes sense. Like, it's more or less the way the defenses are covering him. He had a play last week that should have been a bigger play, but he fumbled. Okay, that didn't help. All in all, though, we still saw 6 targets against Las Vegas, a fine game. In the second half against Minnesota, he did get some targets. And so it was really last week was the first week in which he didn't get that much involvement. I mean, 5 targets, probably should have had a better game than he had. But we also saw Darnell Mooney have his best game in the past, 2 years. And if we remember that game against Washington, Mooney should have had a massive game. We just saw Fields miss him on four plays. It was very, very annoying. And then we saw against Minnesota in the second half, he got some work. Las Vegas, they could try to get the ball to him early and often. That was great to see. And then against the Chargers, he had that one target, that one awesome catch early on in the game. And then I don't think he got another like actual target. And what I liked about last week is that they had like literally 3 plays that were designed to go to him, as they should be. You know, they've been trying to get Tyler Scott the ball. That wasn't working. And he looked good, guys. Like, this is the Darnell Mooney we saw 2 years ago really dominate. And that's always been a head scratcher why they couldn't get him more involved. It's like, it should be simple for a player like that. And then Cole Kmet, it's tough, guys. Cole Kmet continues to just soak up targets. I think it's by design. I don't know. I have a tough time saying that Cole Kmet is a big talent, except for last week when he actually did make an eye-popping touchdown catch. I thought that was by far the best play of his career thus far. He's a guy that can break his slate. I don't want to say like he's the George Kittle rule, because he's not. He can have some flex value, but man, at that cheap price tag, it wouldn't be shocking to see him go off for 20 and like break the slate in a weird way. And so it could be a cheap flex option. I don't love it, though. I don't love the price tag. Feels like a lot to be paying up for him regardless. But looking at the Bears value that we have, Roschon Johnson, he probably will get some work. I don't love it. Darrington Evans should get more work. He just looks explosive in the passing game, but he's not playing any snaps. Tanyan is someone that could get more work tonight. Again, maybe we just see a lot more 12 personnel. He's someone that had already been playing about 30% of the snaps. Same thing with Mercedes Lewis, but I think, Blossom Game, who was only playing about 20 to 15% of the time anyways, maybe we just see a couple of those just be 2 tight end sets. Not someone we're really banking on, though, for production. Tyler Scott should not be this cheap for a guy that's playing about 60% of the snaps. Now, the issue that we have with him is that they haven't really been designing too many plays to him the last couple of weeks. They had one end around last week, but they clearly like him, and he clearly is a talent, playing in about 60% of the snaps, appealing at $200. Like, I don't mind that as a value, as like a deep fly value to where you're just trying to open up the rest of your build. And I do want to talk about Tyson Bagent as well, because I haven't really mentioned him as a DFS play. He kind of made me look dumb against the Chargers, but also didn't, because he was able to get a rushing touchdown. Like, he kind of did what was expected. He had a pretty good game last week against the Saints. He had his first interception was a very Justin Fields-esque interception where like you watch and you're like, what? Where were you throwing that? There's 3 defenders right there. You lobbed it up in the air. You took a long time to make the read and make the throw, and then you just threw it straight to a defender with a soft ball. It wasn't even like a fastball. But he also looked like Justin Fields on the ground, where he was running the same way you would want him to be involved. The upgrade that Bagent has had, and you guys heard it on the last primetime game, this was something I was echoing before that. And then I think it was Al Michaels that mentioned it. He's like, Justin Fields needs to learn from Tyson Bagent, which a lot of social media did not like that. And I'm all like, clearly you guys just aren't watching the film, because Fields probably should be a better quarterback than Bagent. He's just not decisive enough, spends too much time in the pocket. And if Fields could get the ball off fast, make decisive decisions, could he be a starting quarterback in this league? Maybe. That being said, he's looked worse than a D2 starting quarterback, or D2 undrafted quarterback in Tyson Bagent. Now, Bagent had 3 INTs in that game. The second one, more on him. Don't get me wrong, he was a little bit behind the receiver, Darnell Mooney, but the defender makes a pretty darn good play on the football. And honestly, it's probably more a velocity thing, and obviously it was inaccurate, but the third one wasn't his fault. Pretty clearly, he was trying to throw like a sit-down route, whereas it was like a middle pass. The receiver just kept running across the middle. Bagent threw it to where he thought he was going to sit. All in all, up until the fourth quarter, he looked pretty good. Up until they were down by a touchdown, he looked pretty good. And really, the Bears should have won that game. They outplayed them. The Colts, they just made too many mistakes. The Saints, they just made too many mistakes in that game. But all in all, do we want to be ending up on Tyson Bagent? It's tough to say for sure. They should be able to establish the run, which should lead to him being able to throw the football a little bit better. But this Panthers defense has been pretty good at preventing quarterback production. And so the only way we are going to get Tyson Bagent in like a winning GPP lineup, or even a winning cash lineup, is if we see this rushing again, which we could. I would say that's what they need to do here. And or if he gets a rushing touchdown, or DJ Moore just goes bonkers. That could happen as well. So to me, we probably want to be prioritizing more Foreman, and Foreman in this matchup, if he's going to be getting 20 carries, I kind of expect him to be able to score a touchdown. That's a play that I like. And I do think, given how the Bears played last week, and I know they didn't show up against the Chargers, so it's concerning. That's the NFL with these bad teams. It's like sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. They showed up last week, they should have won. If they play like that again, they're probably going to be playing with the lead, And then Foreman is going to be a great captain option. I do really want to get to Darnell Mooney, and that's kind of it for now. I see Cole Kmet as more of someone, if you end up on him, you end up on him. Same thing with Tyson Bagent. Let's go ahead and switch up and get into the Carolina Panthers. So like I mentioned, I kind of feel bad for Bryce Young. The narrative on him is strange. Everyone thinks he's an extreme bust. Maybe this is just from watching a lot of bad quarterback play over the past 2 years, especially from younger quarterbacks. But he hasn't looked bad. I mean, the issue that he's having is a lack of talent. You know, Adam Thielen's your number one, putting up awesome numbers, which don't get me wrong, Adam Thielen's been impressive, but that's really all you got. I mean, the running backs suck. Their tight ends suck. Jonathan Mingo is not really what Bryce Young needs as a receiver right now. It's not a good team. On top of that, you look at last week, I would contribute all of his INTs to pressure. Now, they were dumb decisions, don't get me wrong, but the play designs were in a way in which he needed to get the ball off or he would take a sack. He ends up kind of throwing it weird because of bad pressure. Like one was a screen play that, like, I don't know how they got that much pressure that fast, and the play just wasn't there. He tries to throw it and it gets picked off. All in all, I like how he's looked scrambling the football. The Bears are going to be probably one of the easier defenses he's played thus far this season. And heck, maybe the easiest defense that he's played thus far this season up until this point. You know, the Falcons weren't too bad at that point. The Vikings have gotten, they're kind of hit or miss. Detroit, he played okay against. And then Miami, you would have won a better game against him. But this should be his easiest matchup. And he's been able to produce 10 DraftKings points or more. I do see him as a decent flex play. And so the question becomes, should we be playing Adam Thielen? And I'm really struggling here, guys. I am. Because I think everyone knew there would be some regression for Adam Thielen. Like, he had not looked this good over the past couple of years in Minnesota. And don't get me wrong, his routes have been so eye-poppingly good. It's just like he's making defenders fall and stuff. Like, he's looked good. And it's great for Bryce Young, where I think he's reading short to long with his reads, because we're seeing Adam Thielen get a lot of short yardage plays. We're seeing the running backs get a lot of checkdowns. We're seeing just a lack of downfield targets. And that, to me, he's reading short to long, which bodes well for Adam Thielen. This should be a good matchup for him. I just struggle at 11.8 to pay up for him. When we can get DJ Moore at a cheaper price tag and Darnell Mooney at a cheaper price tag, I kind of like that a little bit more. I will say I'm not too interested in Chuba Hubbard. Could he fall into the end zone? He could, but very uninspiring really the last 2 weeks, but definitely last week, especially with how much better Miles Sanders looked than him. It's very limited sample size, and when we pull up the snaps, we'll see that the snaps were definitely in favor of Chuba Hubbard. But I don't know, I keep going back to the last drive of the game. There was a few snaps in there where the game's out of hand. Miles Sanders had been someone that, up until his injury, had been leading the way. And he honestly was kind of uninspiring from like week 4 on. I don't know. It kind of looked like he just had some fresh legs. He looked a little bit better. Started in the second half. I would rather be on Miles Sanders than I would Chuba Hubbard, especially because they try to get him the ball in the passing game. They had his 3 catches, I believe, were all 3 design plays. And then, no. One of those was the INT that I mentioned with Bryce Young, where it was a weird screen play. But anyways, he had 3 design plays in the passing game, which you love to see. And then 2 of them were check down. Bryce Young does like to throw the check down. I do worry about the price tag being too high, but at the same time, the Bears do struggle at stopping the pass with opposing running backs. And so to me, Miles Sanders would be the most intriguing play in that regard, because he's the better pass catcher. He's better in the passing game. From there, I mentioned, Hayden Hurst, I don't think we want to get to. I think we would rather go to Tommy Tremble, who's cheaper. Now, Hayden Hurst did have a pretty wide open play last week that really boosted his points there. That could have easily been Tommy Tremble. It just wasn't. It was kind of a broken play, wide open. That's fine. I will say the kickers in this game are intriguing. Both of them, they could be a cheap way to get 7 or so DraftKings points. If you want to play the Panthers defense, I don't see them going negative. At the same time, we really would need to get 13 from them, which could happen. Random touchdowns occur every week, but that seems a little bit too thin. The issue that I have with Tyler Scott as a play is that we can get Terrace Marshall for basically the same price. He's someone that should play more. We look at early on the season, played 80, 60, and 61. And why is that noteworthy? Well, DJ Chark was out earlier in the season. When he played 80% of the snaps, DJ Chark came back. He only played 40. DJ Chark played 90, but Jonathan Mingo only played 33. So then Marshall played 60. Jonathan Mingo was out, so Marshall played 60. And then everyone was healthy for the next couple of weeks, so Marshall did not get any work. So really, what should we be looking at? Week 1 and maybe 3 and 4 in terms of what to expect. So week 1, 6 targets, 3 and 4, 8 and 10 targets. That is elite value. It should be, at least. You look at his prop lines, they're projecting him to get about 1.5 catches and about 28 receiving yards. again, that's way too cheap at this price tag. So he is someone I think we firmly should be looking at. Now, maybe Smith Marset does get some more work. He did pop in the preseason, look pretty good there. I just don't see that happening. Derek Wright, someone that can get open in the short yardage situations. Like he's a worse version of Adam Thielen for kind of just a lack of a better take there. And then how fun would it be? Just Jordan Matthews scoring a touchdown. That'd be fun. It's not going to happen, but he could play. He could play. Gosh, that'd be crazy, right? Let's see here then. So lineup process wise, we'd be left at a weird price tag here. I wouldn't mind getting to Bagent there. We can't. Let's try to pay up for Adam Thielen then. We have 6.9 left over. Cole Kmet. I'm fine with this. I think this works. Fading both the quarterbacks I don't love, and you can definitely adjust here. Like if you wanted to roll with this lineup, you just take out Adam Thielen, then you go with Bagent there. Probably playing him in the captain spot because you would have Mooney, Moore, and Cole Kmet. Then on the flip side of that, you could do the exact same thing where you're probably putting Adam Thielen in the captain spot and then playing Bryce Young in favor of probably DJ Moore. It is an ugly slate, don't get me wrong, but I do love kind of the lineups that we are able to build here. It should lead to safety. I'm really just hoping that the kickers and defense don't dominate, or else it could be a rough slate. That's kind of my expectation, but I hate playing kickers and defense on showdown slates. They shouldn't be a thing. That's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.